Hello and welcome to the table, Baldurs Gate, D&D, and Avatar The Last Airbender, friends. Have a seat, grab your favorite drink, and settle in for a unique modded character build and subclass of the Wizard, the Disciple of the First Flame. This subclass is a fire-focused class with thematic spells and unique visuals with a focus on being a pyromantic prodigy with near uncontrollable flames. And to make the theme of this build unique, I am basing this character off of one of my favorite complex villains, Azula. This episode will be going through all 12 episodes of Disciple of the First Flame. Major credits to the mod author Nitro for putting the time and effort in bringing the theme of this class and its features to life. Now, yes, this is a Dark Souls inspired class, and it definitely gives off an aura of a crazed firebender, which is right up Azula's alley. Massive high damage output, and also unique different types of firebending. But yes, it is going to be a thematic, uncontrollable flame that's dangerous to yourself and also to your enemies. Now, for those who are new to the channel and only stumbled upon this video, one of my main focuses for videos is creating unique Baldur's Gate 3 characters, utilizing mods for both enhancement and roleplay purposes, giving you different types of replayability. Now, if that's something you're really into, I really want to listen and hear your personal favorite character builds in the comments below, and let's get an in-depth discussion going on what characters you would build this class around, what you would multi-class and synergize it with, or different types of character build requests separate from this one. And yes, I know some of you have seen that I have narrative-driven Total War campaigns on my channel of Warhammer factions, both modded and non-modded. And yes, I've even made character builds based off of those faction leaders too. So if you love talking shop about character builds, epic story-driven war campaigns, or just all things tabletop related, consider hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icon notifications for more of those unique adventures. Now, for all of the new viewers too, the way we will structure the character build is with the starting level choices, levels 2 through 12, and then wrapping up with complementing gear and equipment to really just lean into what the mod author intended, or what I think a character like Azula would have. And yes, I am going to try to stick thematically to the mod author's intended purposes, and also at the same time trying to min-max damage output too. I'm kind of trying to walk the line between having that metagame attitude about it and min-maxing the damage output, but then also keeping with the roleplay too. And yes, for all the new viewers too, I do plan on putting out more multi-class builds for the channel too, but I am really just enjoying doing all 12 levels of a modded class to showcase everything there is to offer and seeing what max potential is possible with the class too. And also, this is a personal way to say thank you to the mod author. Please let me know to everyone your favorite types of multi-class character builds, and it's definitely something that I really want to go wild on with future videos. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first level of this build. So admittedly, at level 1, I will admit I am using a variant human mod, which adds a huge list of race passives for us to choose from. We can choose a total of 3, and I am going to be choosing some in order to roleplay and also lean into the strengths of this character build. The first one, really important here, Elemental Adept of Fire. Spells you cast ignore resistance to fire damage. In addition, when you deal fire damage with a spell, you cannot roll a 1. The second part is really huge at first level too, and also the first part, ignore resistance to fire damage, that is going to carry you throughout the entire game, both early and even late game too. Having the chance to ignore any types of resistance means that you can guarantee that you'll get as much damage output as possible with your flame-based attacks. The second one, this may seem very minor too, Resilient Intelligence. Increase your intelligence by 1 and gain proficiency in intelligence saving throws. Even though it is by 1, as we will see later when it comes to the ability stat output, it will make things really even for us and also save us time and effort when it comes to further level ups. As for the last one, Last but not least, fast hands, gain an additional bonus action. This may also seem very minor too, but I am going to harp on action economy and being able to perform multiple actions, or I should specifically say multiple attacks in one turn, can really up your damage output and also take care of enemies fast, so you can prioritize other things easier too. As for the cantrips, I am using a mod that adds Pathfinder 2E spells and cantrips as well. Electric Arc 2E. Yes, I know it is not fire themed. However, in the show, Azula is able to lightning bend as well. Even though it doesn't do as much damage potential as Firebolt, 5 to 8 lightning damage, shoot an arc of lightning toward a foe within 18 meters that arcs to another hostile creature. This is kind of like a small crowd control effect too. And then the second and third spells, Control Flames and Create Bonfire, go hand in hand together. Create a bonfire that burns creatures in the bonfire space while casting the spell, or when the character starts or ends its turn in the space. And also, with Control Flames, choose a fire surface and expand its radius, or extinguish an object or fire surface's flames. You could basically create a bonfire, have an enemy trapped in there due to different status effects, or also one of your other party members keeping them trapped there, and then having Control Flames to expand that bonfire surface earlier and even more too. As for the spell choices here, I know a lot of them are not fire-based theme, but some of them are very much roleplay thematic for Azula herself. She would definitely use fear to make enemies frightened and also keep them in place, pairing well with the Create Bonfire, trapping them there. Fog Cloud would definitely be something. You could argue that Fog Cloud is kind of like a subtype of firebending. Mage Armor, I will admit, I decided to choose it for metagame purposes, increasing our armor class of 13 plus our dex modifier. False Life is also kind of for metagame purposes of gaining 7 temporary hit points. We're not going to be super high in health either, especially early game, so this is going to be like a little saving grace for us. And then Magic Missile and Burning Hands. Magic Missile, I will also admit there is a mod I'm using which adds different types of chromatic missiles, so there's going to be a flame-based one, and essentially Magic Missile, it is consistent damage output and the fact that it will never miss. Burning Hands, it's kind of like a close range fire-bending spell if enemies do somehow close the distance on you. Background for Azula, roleplay-wise, will be Noble, giving you skills in History and Persuasion. Ability Output Modifier, this is going to be really specific here too. Now, because we decided to choose Resilient +1 to Intelligence, it was originally 17, but now makes it an even 18, so overall a +4 for us. Constitution and Dexterity, add a respectable 14, so +2 to each. Wisdom, add an okay +1, no negatives at least. Charisma, we're leaving alone, so no bonuses or negatives. And we're taking points away from Strength. Azula is more so of a dexterous character herself. And our skill proficiencies will be in Acrobatics, Arcana, History, Investigation, Persuasion. As for the prepared spells, go ahead and choose which you want to mix in and out. Personally, for me, I like having either False Life or Cause Fear interchange, but like I said, it depends on your personal playstyle. At second level, we gain unique features and spells, such as Ember's Fate. Any creature that this unit hits with a spell that does fire damage receives burning status for 2 turns. Cantrips of Fangs of the Fire Snake. Hit your foe from afar. Your next melee attacks deal an additional 1 to 4 fire damage. And the spell Fire Fangs of Kelana. Strike foes from afar with the Fangs of Kelana, dealing 1 bludgeoning damage and 1 to 10 fire damage. At third level, we gain Quelag's Nightmare. Whenever this unit inflicts burning on a creature, it also suffers from being frightened for 1 turn. This is very huge here in terms of paralyzing your enemies and also getting them to skip their turn in combat. allowing you more action economy. For the next spell, Great Combustion, 3 to 18 fire damage, produce a blast of Great Flame, dealing 3 to 18 fire damage to any creature caught within. It's basically a stronger version of Burning Hands. At level 4, the feat I would personally choose here would be Ability Improvement, choosing Intelligence to max it out to 20, giving us an overall +5, and it's all thanks to us choosing a Resilient +1 at starting level. At level 5, we gain Chaos Fireball, 8 to 48 fire damage. It's very powerful at this level too. Massive amounts of damage output potential. Shoot a Chaos Flame from your fingers that explodes upon contact, torching everything in the vicinity. Level 6 is when we gain Ashen Oath. Unit ignores fire resistance and immunity. Level 7, the spell we gain here is Quellag's Firestorm, 4 to 24 damage of fire. Stoke a giant cinderball and lob it, bursting it in a wide explosion and creating a fiery surface. So not only is it a very powerful crowd control spell, but also a status spell too, in terms of causing burning damage over time to all of the enemies in the area of effect. Now for level 8, the feat I am choosing here is admittedly a modded one, which is added by either Feats Expanded or Extra Feats. This one specifically being Meta Magic Adept. You basically get to learn 2 passives from the sorcery class bloodline, and the ones I would personally choose here for metagame purposes, and well, also for roleplay purposes too. Extended spell, double the duration of conditions, summons, and surfaces caused by spells. Now, I'm specifically choosing conditions and surfaces for the burning damage output on our enemies, and subtle spell, which is very powerful too. Still being able to cast spells and cantrips while silence. I'm always getting annoyed by enemy mages trying to silence myself or other caster members of the party. At level 9, we gain White Lady's Wrath, draw on the White Lady to melt the ground and create a small lava surface under you. Again, another good condition and also environmental control spell. Fair Lady's Warmth, this is more of a support ability. The Fair Lady comforts you in warmth, healing you 2 to 20 health points when you begin your turn in lava, which is kind of ironic too. Normally standing in a fire surface you would receive burning, but then with this active, it's actually incentivizing you to literally jump into the fire. Level 10, just an extra spell slot, but also at levels 11 and 12 is when we really get some important choices and features here. Subclass feature Rekindle. When this unit kills a creature with a spell that does fire damage, they regain a spell slot of the same level of the spell used. In a way, this is kind of playing into more action economy and being able to keep casting and blasting. The spell we gain here is First Flame of Azula. Absolutely love the theme and the name of the spell, with a potential 12 to massive amounts of 96 fire damage. A beam of the First Flame sears, blinds, and stuns all creatures in its path. It's going to really pair well too with those status effects, with the meta magic spell of increased duration. Until the spell ends, you can recast this without expending a spell slot. Until the spell ends, you can recast Sunbeam without expending any spell slots. For 2 turns, your enemies are stunned, and for 10 turns, they are blinded, and also you can recast Sunbeam as well. And at level 12, the feat I would personally choose here is Spell Sniper, and yes, this is a modded version of Spell Sniper of learning a cantrip, and the number you need to roll that critical hit with spells is reduced by 1, which can stack, and this will pair pretty well with some of the equipment choices we'll get to very soon. Now the cantrip choice here, I am using a modded Eldritch Blast cantrip, which basically makes it fire damage, and while this is simply just a cantrip, I do like to choose it for the theming of it, and also being able to blast 3 beams of scorching fire at our opponents. Alright friends, when it comes to equipment choices, admittedly a lot of it is obviously going to be fire based, but also some of it is going to touch on the magical aspects as well, such as the headpiece, arcane enchantment of Hood of the Weave, +2 bonus to spell save DC, and main focus here, spell attack rolls. Being able to actually hit our opponents is huge. Cindermoth Cloak, Flaming Shroud, a creature that damages the wearer within 2 meters receives burning. This is a nice retaliation and almost reflect damage-esque. Obsidian Lace Robe, it is a low armor class, but with Flaming Revenge on a successful saving throw against a foe's spell, deal 5 to 8 fire damage back at them. Now that is a true reflect damage ability there. Gemini Gloves, Adroit Caster, cantrips targeting foes and allies can target an additional creature. The same target can be chosen twice. However, you could potentially trade that out with Deadly Channeler Gloves with Arcane Critical. Magically augment your ability to annihilate your foes with a powerful attack. The number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking is reduced by 2 instead of just 1. This effect can stack, and also it will stack with one of our previous choices in feats. Helldusk Boots, I just like these for the look and also for the Hellcrawler class action. Steadfast, you cannot be forcibly moved by a foe's spells or actions, and you ignore effects of difficult terrain. When you fail a saving throw, you may use your reaction to succeed instead. Teleport to an area and deal 2 to 16 fire damage. Massive AoE potential there too. The Impact Blast spreads in a 3-meter zone, so you, as a playstyle, a very aggressive playstyle too, is just literally teleporting, causing fire damage, and then blasting them with your Fire Eldritch Blast, or also with some of your other flame spells too. Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet will be your necklace here, paralyze and critical. Once per long rest, when scoring a critical hit on a human, the wearer can paralyze the target for a whopping 2 turns, and with Executioner, this will pair well with the Subjugation Amulet. When you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit, so on that critical hit, you'll be able to paralyze them with the Subjugation Amulet, but you do have to let it refresh after a long rest. And also, Ring of Fire, simply when dealing fire damage, the wearer deals an additional +1 fire damage, and yes, it does seem like a meager amount of damage, but it's better that than none. Now, as for the quote-unquote weapon choice, you're really not going to be technically using a weapon as Azula, but more so, it's going to be used to enhance your fire bending. Staff of Spell Power gains you Arcane Enchantment, +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, and specifically with Arcane Battery, alleviate the arcane burden of spellcasting with the power of the staff. Next spell you cast doesn't cost a spell slot. Now, again, action economy is very much huge when it comes to my character builds, and being able to literally keep blasting and relaxing in the background, that's going to be your type of playstyle. Alright friends, that has been my character build and showcase of the Disciple of the First Flame. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my level up choices, and also if you think that I roleplayed and stuck well to Azula's character. And also, regardless if you're a new or returning viewer, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for taking the time to check out this character. I will be leaving the link to the main mod as well as a few additional mods in the pinned comment below. And also to new viewers, if you have loved what you've seen with this video and want to see more, I do have a playlist of Baldurs Gate 3 character builds that you can find on my channel. And I'd love to have you consider hitting those like, subscribe, and bell icon notifications. Thank you again, everyone, and I'll save you a seat at the table for the next adventures. Take care and farewell.